contestant is kvmipsc. Be a man. Be a man. kvmipsc.
Mahabharat! Contest chair, fellow Toastmasters, and guests. 1994. The world was busy with many politics. Nelson Mandela becoming the first president of South Africa. Bill Clinton becoming a sensation with Monica Lewinsky in America. But India was glued to the television every Sunday. And it was one such Sunday in the morning that I watched this fabulous episode of Mahabharata. The saga of the prince Abhimanyu. Subhadra, who is pregnant with Abhimanyu, asks her husband Arjuna how to tackle the vicious circular formation of army called Chakravyuha. Arjuna, being the greatest archer in the world, unfortunately is not a Toastmaster. So he starts his speech with not so attention grabbing opening, effectively putting Subhadra to sleep the second minute. However, an indomitable spirit Abhimanyu pays attention to his father's narration from his mother's womb and listens how to enter the lethal Chakravyuha. But unfortunately, about when Arjuna is about to narrate the exit process, he is diverted by Lord Krishna. Having not known that single way of getting out of Chakravyuha, finally, in the big battle, Abhimanyu has to pay his life. As Abhimanyu collapsed on the TV screen, I looked at my father about all the things that he has half-knowledgely taught me when I was in my mother's womb. My father looked at me with apprehension and said, "Really? Let's face it. Forget about womb. You are struggling to learn in the classroom." But still, that day, looking at the dead body of Abhimanyu, I decided I don't want to die as a hero, but I would just like to live as a man. And who else to look up to than my father? My father is a brilliant man, and I picked up every little quality from him, whether he taught me or he did not. Education. Though he was well educated, he constantly pursued education. Even when I was studying, he did his MPhil, his PhD in multiple subjects. I picked up the same interest, I studied multiple subjects. Career. Though he was just an ordinary Telugu teacher, he picked up every possible opportunity to explore his career. Can you believe? He became an NCC officer, got trained in the army every 2 years, traveled to every nook and corner of this country, and one of the best shooting stars of NCC. I did the same thing, took every opportunity in career to travel everywhere possible, backpacked through entire Asia and gained a lot of knowledge. And best of all, relationships. He was the best husband as per everybody else other than my mother. But still, they have been the most fabulous couple I have ever seen. Of course, there were some occasional fights between them, but the process was very clear. My father would say something, my mother would respond to it, my father would shout, my mother would cry, my father would walk away. Pretty simple. I explored the same thing in my relationships. However, the way my father and mother patched up, nobody ever patched up with me. After 3 breakups, the 4th breakup was really severe on me. I sat back thinking about what was really wrong in my life and why was it not happening the same way like in my father's case. Looking at the despair in my face, my father just walked in trying to inquire about what had happened. I explained him the whole scenario and he said, "Son, you are a jerk. All you had to do was apologize to the girl. If you really valued the relationship, all you need to say is just a sorry." Then I said, "You never said it to mother. How come you patched up?" My father said, "I always said it, but I made sure you kids were not around when I said it." But man, that day when I sat and I thought, I realized one of the most important lessons in my life, that saying sorry is what that holds a relationship. And it is not about whether you win the argument or you lose the argument. But when you say sorry, you are telling the other person that you value them more than anything else. And since then, I have been effectively using this in all my relationships. And whenever there is a need, and whenever I feel it is essential, I will be the first one to say that sorry. And my relationships have been amazing. These are some of the great lessons that I have learned from my father about how to be a real man. In a simple summary, I can tell you that there are 3 important ways or 3 simple secrets of learning to be a man. If you don't learn them, it often happens, just like Abhimanyu, that we end up in the vicious circular chakravyuha of ego, not knowing how to break it and come out of it. Rule number 1, to be a man, just say sorry. Rule number 2, to be a man, teach your kids to value relationships more than their egos. And rule number 3, to be a real man, every time you plead sorry to your wife, make sure your kids are not around. Honestly.
We shall now observe